All right, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Solana house at Snapshot at Assembly Hall in Austin. My name is Kyle. I'm a co-founder at Multicoin and an early investor in Jito. And this is Lucas, one of the co-founders of Jito.
Hey everyone, my name is Lucas, co-founder and CEO at Jito Labs. We build MEV infrastructure on Solana and also are contributors to Jito Network, liquid staking protocol in Solana.
Let's start with like kind of a general overview. What's going on generally with LSTs on Solana?
Yeah, we've seen a pretty rapid rise in LSTs on Solana. Basically starting like middle of last year, I think post FTX, it kind of bottomed. The LST market share as a percentage of total staking was right around 2% or 1%. Today we're at over 6%. A lot of this has been driven by Jito Sol and also Sanctum and some of their single validator LSTs that they've been working on.
What are single validator LSTs and what's going on with Sanctum?
Yes, so single validator LSTs, they are LSTs that are run by validator operators, or protocols in some circumstances. So if you guys are familiar with Helios, you've probably seen MERT around. They have HSOL. There's Lane Sol, Cogent Sol, a bunch of other single validator LSTs. We're also seeing projects starting to launch single validator LSTs, Jupiter, Drift. There's a few others that are launching those to get access to these stake-weighted quality service.
Can you explain why are all these people launching these? Are they taking fees or like what's their motivation?
Yeah, so for those of you, hopefully everyone is familiar with liquid staking here, but for those that aren't, when you stake Solana to a validator, you're locking up those funds by delegating it to that validator. For doing that, you are getting inflation and essentially the voting credits and MEV from those validators. And LSTs basically allow you to stake your assets, and in return you get a receipt token for that. And with the receipt token, you can go and use it in DeFi. And so we've seen, there's a lot more DeFi protocols in Solana recently, like Camino, MarginFi, Solend, and some of the other ones that have been around for a while. And the DeFi ecosystem is maturing a lot. So we're starting to see a lot more people get into these LSTs and start to use them in DeFi.
So how does Jito Sol differ from all of these single validator LSTs?
Yeah. So yeah, as the name suggests, single validator LSTs, they delegate to a single validator. So this will be like a Jupiter validator or like StakeWiz, and Michael runs the Lane Sol one. They'll only delegate to that validator. And Jito Sol delegates to around 200 validators today. So I think it's around like 50 to 80,000 Sol per validator in the validator set. So Jito Sol is very decentralized. It's meant to scale. It could scale to much, much larger amount of stake than a single validator LST can while increasing the decentralization of the network. Another cool thing is that you can kind of think of it like, we build MEV infrastructure. Jito Sol only stakes 2 validators that are running the Jito Solana validator client. And so you're kind of getting, through Jito Sol, you are getting kind of like an index on MEV across a wide variety of validators. If you guys have seen like some of the Jito tips, or if you're more familiar with like the Ethereum ecosystem and Flashbots, there's just like randomly like massive tips that happen. I think our largest was, I think it was like a few $100,000. So you can kind of get an index across a lot of different validators, and you have a likelier chance of, potentially getting one of the larger tips. So yeah, like the Jito Sol, if you compare the Jito Sol yield to yield for like a stake pool that doesn't purely run MEV clients, then Jito Sol yield is anywhere from 10 to 20% higher.
And do most of the single validator LSTs run Jito Sol or Jito Solana?
Yeah. So today, 80% of the stake, roughly 80%, runs the Jito Solana client. This is everyone from like Coinbase, Blockdaemon, P2P to if there's any validators here, then there's a good chance you're running it.
And then y'all launched StakeNet a few months ago. What is StakeNet?
Yeah. So StakeNet, it's a protocol to fully decentralize and automate Jito Sol and other liquid staking tokens. We basically saw this issue to elaborate more on why we built this. You can kind of look to what happened with Lido on Solana. They just kind of like shut down out of the blue. That's not really something that should happen to a liquid staking protocol. Like, can you imagine if like Uniswap or something like that shut down? That's like, Uniswap's more DeFi. LSTs on Solana today, they're not really DeFi. They rely on central server, a hot wallet that can move funds around. And so we really wanted to build LSTs that can last forever. We want to hand this off to the network and let it run itself. So StakeNet is basically a protocol that we built to do this. So there's a few parts to it. One part is what we call the validator history program. This is basically when you run a stake pool, you want to delegate to validators that are performing well. They are earning a lot of voting credits. They have low commission, low MEV commission. They're running the newest version of software. They're not, they haven't commission rug, where basically you have, there's the issue of commission rugging on Solana, where you have validators that will increase their commission from like 4% to 100% and steal all the rewards from stake pools. And so the validator history program is basically using Solana as the database for storing the validator's metrics, and it uses a variety of like information that's available on chain. We actually upload some gossip data from Solana, so data that you can't get on chain, but we upload it and signature verify it, so we know that that validator said whatever they were gossiping. There's a few other fields, and if you go to jito.network/stakenet, you can see a lot of this data from the validator history program. The piece that we just announced yesterday was the steward program. And the steward program, it's basically meant to leverage that data, and it basically runs the entire state machine for how Jito Sol delegates Solana to validators. So if we get new Sol into the protocol, it needs to determine what validator to stake that to. If there's a commission rug, we want to destake that, wait for it to cool down, and put it on new validator. There's a bunch of, you want to constantly check how validators are performing and redelegate. And so that entire state machine lives on Solana. It's completely open source. There's several parameters that you can kind of tweak and governance can tune to basically make Jito Sol the validator set that it wants to see. And so JIP3 was announced yesterday, and that basically kind of triggers the transition process of Jito Sol from currently being controlled by contributors to this more decentralized version. And the goal is to basically make it so that the pool is fully automated, it's decentralized, it can't be stopped, and it puts the control of the delegation directly into the hands of token holders.
All right, and then kind of to wrap things up before we go to a little Q&A, DeFi continues to evolve in Solana. A lot of people are talking about restaking. There's obviously a few teams that have raised money to do restaking on Solana. How does Jito think about all that stuff?
I can't comment on any like direct plans, but I think that there's a large opportunity for restaking on Solana. I think that the types of AVSs that we'll see on Solana are much different than what you see on Ethereum. For instance, like a lot of the AVSs on Ethereum, they're kind of built around scaling the asset. Like we want to use Ethereum for security. We want to build L2s and data availability and all this stuff. You don't really have the need, at least today, for a lot of this stuff on Solana. And so that I think a lot of the AVSs on Solana will probably run fully on chain, similar to StakeNet. There's like keepers, oracles, bridges, a bunch of services that will run on top of Solana. So I think it's not only bullish for Solana, the asset, and the, liquid staking is obviously, restaking has been a huge kind of black hole for LSTs on Ethereum. But I think that will certainly apply to Solana. But I think it's also extremely bullish, the Solana technology and usage. If you have a lot of people using and coordinating and running these AVSs on chain, it's going to be a lot more transactions, a lot more priority fees, a lot more earnings for validators.
Cool. Any other DeFi products that you think are coming up based on LSTs that are of interest?
Yeah, the MarginFi YBX is pretty exciting. There's some other LST-backed stablecoins that are potentially coming over from the Ethereum side. I think that's cool. Kamino's been cooking up a lot of cool stuff. They have like looping and some newer products that they're working on that we're pretty excited about.
What's been just over the Jito journey, like what's been the most unexpected thing that's happened kind of through the development of the LST ecosystem?
I think the coolest thing was probably the ideation and creation of StakeNet. No one's built this before, and we kind of had this idea that this would be possible. We started it way before the whole Lido thing happened, but I think that really enforced like why we were working on it. Is basically like, hey, like this thing can be like shut down, it can be paused. There's, if it's controlling a large amount of stake, we want to see Jito Sol get to massive amounts of stake on the network, and just like the ideation, creation of that, and then also seeing a lot of other LSTs and staking protocols start to use that data. It's been pretty cool to see that happening, and kind of reinforces why we're building it.
Cool. Fast forward 3 years. What is one way in which the world looks meaningfully different as it pertains to LSTs?
Hopefully we see some more like TradFi LST instruments. I think that would be pretty cool.
What do you mean?
Like a futures market or something. A Jito Sol ETF would be pretty cool. Might be dreaming here, but let me dream. Yeah, and I think there's going to be a lot more protocols that cater to LSTs and the unique things that you can do with them.
I guess also you mean maybe things like Athena and other kinds of stable coins and stuff?
Yeah. Looking forward to see a lot more the decentralized stable coins.
Got it. There's one other question for you. Any unique insights you could share with people about like things you've learned about MEV on Solana that are like very either unique or distinct or just like very unexpected?
Searchers on Solana are very smart. They're pretty crafty and can be pretty annoying sometimes. It's like you see like searchers like right locking other people's accounts to try to slow them down. And just the thing that we like didn't originally anticipate was just the amount of transactions and the amount of spam and like the amount of abuse, and just like the amount of data and the amount of computational power is like that you need to do this is way more than we were expecting. So yeah, we thought we could get away with like 1 or 2 RPCs, and now we're running like a ton per region. And for Bill is pretty nasty. So,
that's the way to right lock other people's accounts. So if searchers will send something that touches someone else's account space just to prevent them from being able to do the. Oh wow,
yeah,
that's very cool.
Yeah, there's that. There's some other stuff I probably shouldn't get into that people are doing as well. But yeah, like. Yeah, we've seen a lot of that in searchers just like, trying to right lock others' USDC accounts and Sol accounts, and people, it's a cutthroat world out there.
Cool. All right, well, thanks for your time, Lucas. And if y'all want to find him, I'm sure he'll be around to talk more things MEV and LSTs.
Cool, thanks.